what is happening? You know, we don't know what we don't know. In the year 2000, I read a book called Mad Cowboy, and this book convinced me to become a vegetarian. It was a book about a rancher whose whole family died of heart disease and diabetes, and so he quit eating meat and dairy products because of that, and then wrote a book that was very inspiring for people who want to be healthy. The next day after I read it, I became a vegetarian, and I was a vegetarian for 10 years, and I did it for health reasons. And it's just a good example of not knowing what I don't know. And if you're not discerning about the information that you allow to change and form your mind, you're going to go down some paths. We're going to go down some paths that may not be the best for our health and well-being, such as vegetarianism and cutting out saturated animal fat, which is actually what we are. We are animals, and we're made out of saturated fat. So the saying "you are what you eat" is true, but it's actually should be something like you are what you should be eating, or we are what we should be eating. Saturated fat and raw animal protein. So here I am in this place of not knowing what I don't know, and I've been super convinced by some very compelling people who are out there practicing either the carnivore diet or the primal diet. Carnivore diet, to my understanding, is basically all meat and animal products, but most of these people are doing it cooked. The primal diet from Agenus von der Planitz is all raw fat and protein. So earlier today I ate about a half pound of ground beef formed into a burger, cooked pretty rare. And truthfully, it kind of slowed me down and made me feel sluggish. So supposedly eating the raw protein, the raw animal protein and saturated fat and cholesterol is the most natural way to eat it, obviously, and it is absorbed extremely naturally into our bodies as well. And I don't plan on making all my videos about me eating surprising and or shocking things on camera. There's plenty of other people doing this stuff on YouTube as well. I just feel like I want to give my slant on it, and some important things will come up while sitting here in front of you with raw meat. This is a very nice grass-fed beef tenderloin that I got at Whole Foods. It was their step 4. I don't even know what that means. It's their highest quality meat that you could buy. Step 4, animal welfare. I guess that means that it was extremely well cared for while it was alive, and it was fed properly as well, which makes a huge deal. It makes a big difference as far as like what the quality of the meat or the food the meat that's gonna be my food, what the animal ate makes a big difference. As far as the quality of the food, just like what you eat makes a big difference as far as like the quality of what your tissues are like. For instance, if you have a very toxic load going into your body all the time, eating lots of vegetable types of fats and stuff like that, it changes the constitution of your fat, because you're not eating saturated fat, which is what you're made out of, and you should be eating what you are, or else you will not be what you're supposed to be. Will you be what you eat? You will be what you eat. So anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to do this the way all the badass savages are doing it that I've been watching on YouTube. I'm going to do it the way God most likely intended, and I'm going to take my first bite just like this, out of this beautiful, delicious tenderloin, which this is actually half of it. I cut it in half with this beautiful knife that my dear Amanda bought for me for, I think, my last birthday. This was made by Crooked River Forge. You can find him on Instagram, Crooked River Forge. I just had this bad boy sharpened as well, as you could see. Anyhow, here's the raw butter as well, which pretty much each bite will be accompanied by raw butter. There's not a lot of fat in this bad boy, so here goes. Thank you, you beautiful and delicious cow, for being a part of the Mother Nature's life cycle, and allowing me, human being, the apex predator, to take you into my body. Super duper tender. I mean, easier to bite into uncooked than if it was cooked. I enjoy it more than the ground beef. I was counseled that in order to get into eating raw meat, I should start with ground beef. It's the easiest. Frankly, I found it to be kind of mushy and pasty and weird in my mouth, and I'm not sure I really liked it. This is interesting. It's pretty rare. Do you think that's too rare? Do you think I think it needs a little more fire? And on that note, you know, heat kills things. Think about putting your hand on a hot stove. It hurts really bad because it's destroying your tissue. It is killing you. It's denaturing your proteins. It's turning those perfect proteins into something different, something that isn't as functional. And when we heat this, it also denatures these proteins and turns them into something different as well. The first thing that people have been saying to me when I tell them about this journey of trying raw meat is, well, what about the bacteria? You got to be careful of the bacteria. And that's, you know, part of this you don't know what you don't know type of a thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to eat the fat. You know, everyone says the fat is like their favorite part, but I'm a little tweaked out by it personally. I'll eat some of it. You don't know what you don't know, and this whole bacteria myth is really mind-boggling about where is it coming from, why is it there, the myth that there are good bacteria and bad bacteria. There's just bacteria, and our bodies are 90% bacteria. That means you're only 10% human. And the way Dr. Natasha Campbell describes it is like mind-blowing, that we are actually just a shell for bacteria. So we're just a shell for bacteria. Our body, the purpose of our body is to house bacteria. And so to be afraid of bacteria is kind of a weird thing. And to think that the way the kind of medical pharmaceutical establishment has us thinking about ingesting bad bacteria and how that's going to harm us. And if we have a bacterial infection, we have to take an antibiotic. That's getting flipped on its head in my mind and in a lot of other people's minds as well. So good bacteria, bad bacteria, it's just bacteria. And as long as your gut microbiome is nice and balanced, as far as I'm understanding, we don't have a lot to worry about things like this scary E. coli and trichinosis from the pork. So here goes. I'm going to do a little bit of a fatty bite here. Butter. Stuff's great. I got it from Amish Healthy Foods on Western Avenue in Ukrainian Village, Chicago. Big shout out to some YouTube channels that have inspired me greatly recently. Obviously anything with Dr. Natasha Campbell. Sverige, which apparently means Sweden in Swedish, I think. I don't know. He's a savage. He only eats raw meat. For 2 years, all he's eaten is raw meat, even raw organ meats and stuff like that. So anyhow, here I am on this journey, going on 43 years old. I don't feel like I look 43 necessarily, and I'm thinking that we may be stumbling onto the fountain of youth here. We are predators. Everything about our teeth into our stomachs and our gut says carnivore predator. It doesn't say vegetarian. It doesn't say vegan. These are the facts. We have so much hydrochloric acid in our stomach when we eat, and that is not for digesting plants. It's the plants that ferment in our gut. It's not the meat that putrefies. Supposedly, and we're going to find out because I'm really hungry. I was really hungry. I kept myself from eating some shit that I could have, when you're really hungry, you tend to eat things that you didn't mean to eat, and then after you eat it, it's like, oh my God. But I keep hearing how easily this absorbs into our guts and how well it is assimilated. And I'm really curious because I was really hungry and I want to see how satisfying it is for me. So, pretty good. Pretty good. Anyhow, got a couple more eating videos in mind. Eggs out of the shell. The thing I'm most afraid of. I've been fearing this all day, and it's actually quite delicious. I've been afraid of it, like, oh my God, I'm gonna eat that tenderloin on camera. I'll teach you how to suck an egg out of the shell. Pasture-raised eggs. And the thing I'm most afraid of is to eat liver. But liver is supposedly the healthiest thing you could eat. It's even in the name, liver, which I think is pretty crazy. Then I started thinking about, wow, my son's name is Oliver. That's pretty cool. Everyone's like, when he was born, what do you guys think you'll call him, Ollie? We were like, no. And I'm like, why can't you shorten it to liver? Why does it have to be Ollie? Can it be liver? Anyhow, just food for thought. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.